So my name's John Campbell, and I'd like to talk to you today a little bit about the law of attraction and how it plays out in our lives, what it does, how we can make the law work for us, and how we can make it work against us. The law of attraction is something which a lot of people are writing about these days. There's a lot out there about it. And what I hear is people are still a little bit confused. Very simply, in its basic terms, the law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. So what does that mean? Basically, it means what we think about, what we focus on, we're going to bring into our lives. There's an old Avatar saying from the Avatar course that says, our beliefs create our reality. What we believe is what we create. And if you believe that, you will. And if you don't, you won't. Which still makes the first statement true. Our beliefs create our reality. So then I'd like to consider, what is a belief? Well, a belief is only a thought you keep thinking. A belief is only a thought you keep thinking. If you keep thinking a certain thought long enough and frequently enough, it becomes a belief. And then, over a period of time, you'll start to notice that that belief starts creating your reality. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? When we think that all we have to do to change our situation is change the thought we keep thinking. And eventually we change our belief, and when we've changed our belief, we'll end up having a different reality. Now this might sound confusing, but it really isn't, especially if you can get the principle of checking out whether your thoughts are going for you or against you when you start aligning your thoughts with your feelings. Have a little think about something. Could be anything. Could be a relationship issue, could be a financial issue, whatever. And think a thought and notice how you feel when you think the thought. How do you feel? Does it make you feel uplifted, vibrant, excited even? Or does it make you feel fearful, down, maybe a little bit depressed? See what you feel. That's going to tell you whether your thought is a positively creating thought or a negative creating thought. And once we start to monitor our feelings as to our thoughts, we can start a process going which I call constantly searching for a better feeling thought. Now, what does that mean in real terms? It doesn't mean that, let's just say, for example, you're bankrupt. You could have the thought, I'm a multimillionaire. It certainly feels better. However, that's a big leap from being bankrupt. So one of the first things I talk about is go and search for the next best feeling thought. So the next best feeling thought could be something like, now I have a job. It's a better feeling thought. It's focusing on what you want and not what you don't want. If you keep focusing on your bankruptcy or your debts, you're going to keep incurring more of them. So if you, first of all, accept where you are without trying to fight it, just an acceptance, and know that you have the power to change and create a different future by constantly monitoring your thoughts. And you'll notice this in everywhere you go. If you go out into the shops, notice what people talk about. I'm telling you, you'll be amazed when you become conscious. Most of the time, people are talking about what they don't want. They're talking about how rotten the economy is, how terrible the things are in the world, all the wars and everything else, and wonder why they don't feel good. There's always a different perception to every situation. Somebody said to me the other day about some of the atrocities that have happened recently, you know, like the bombing in the Boston Marathon. And they asked me, they said, how do you deal with that? Well, be very honest about it. I don't read that part of newspapers. I don't watch the news very often. But occasionally it'll come into my consciousness. But if I saw a picture, which I did in this case, of that incident, I immediately put my focus on how amazing the emergency services were, the ambulance people, the paramedics, the nurses, all the people that came to help. And when I switched and thought about them and the admiration I have for them, I noticed I felt better. I felt a lot better than if I was condemning the people that carried it out or feeling sorry for the people who had suffered, which of course I have compassion for them, but that doesn't feel very good. So if I just switch my focus on the people that are helping, immediately I call it my vibration goes up, my vibration rises. And as the vibration rises, I'm going to attract more of what I want in my life and less of what I don't want. And it really is about vibration. You know, good old Albert Einstein told us hundreds of years ago that everything is energy. He actually said everything is energy, and because everything is energy, anything is possible. So everything has a vibration. Every thought we have has a vibration. And it can be a positive vibration or a negative vibration, depending on the thought and depending what we feel when we think the thought. So I get people to start off by just becoming aware of what they're talking about, what they're reading about, what they're speaking about, what they're listening to, and try to start making a commitment to yourself to change and start reading, writing, talking, listening to things that you want and things that uplift you, and just avoid the ones that don't. It's a very, very easy step to start making, and you'll find out if you just go into shops and everything else. One of the other fascinating things, when you go around tomorrow, just notice how many people, when you say to them, "How you doing?" I give you 90% of them will say, "Not bad." Now you see, the subconscious mind cannot process negatives. So your own subconscious mind only hears bad. Now, what's another way of saying not bad? It's pretty good. Same thing, different effect. So if you start in just checking out your language, finding out how often you talk about things that you don't want, use that. Don't beat yourself up about it, because we all do it, including me, still does it. But just notice it and then use that as a pivot to say, that's what I don't want, so now let's show me what I do want. And then switch your focus to what you do want. And you'll find amazing things will happen in your life if you keep coming from that place of looking for the better feeling thought in every situation. So that's just a small clip of explaining a little bit about the law of attraction and how it takes time and dedication. And people might think you're crazy, but that's one of the biggest things you have to let go of if you want to do what you want to do in life, is the attachment to the good opinion of other people. That's one of the biggest things, one of the hardest things I did, because I've been so programmed to be dependent. I went through my whole life thinking that how I felt depended on what other people thought of me. And do you know what I found out? It was exactly the reverse. How I feel is dependent on what I think about other people. So when I start practicing seeing the good things in other people, I actually feel better. I hope that's helped you somewhat. Thanks very much. This is John Campbell.